With us this afternoon to give remarks in his 22nd year as Director of Athletics at Wayne State University, Mr. Rob Fournier. Rob?
Thanks, Jason. Also, before I start, I want to give a shout out there to Dr. Turner, who helped put all this together, done a fabulous job. If you watch her, she's always following me around during these events because I'm not really sure what I'm doing, so she keeps me on track. So, Candace, thank you. And also Lauren and Jason and Gerald, they've done a great job in putting this together. My good friend Keith Williams said to me, he goes, I like this venue a lot better. He said, why didn't we just do this here every year? And I said, well, Keith, we used to play basketball games in here. And he's like, oh, yeah, I remember now. So, where have you been? I'm waiting 2 years for this. We've been through a lot the last 2 years as an athletic department. I'm sure each of you seen out here will acknowledge. The interesting thing about athletics during the whole pandemic, we kept competing. When the rest of the university shut down and went virtual, we were still going live over here. We practiced in masks. We tested ourselves 6 times a week. And that's that little finger thing that you do. No, ask those guys that were doing that antigen test early in the morning before they could go to practice. We canceled our first football season since there was a war in Europe, the one in the 40s. We moved our volleyball and our cross-country teams to the winter and the spring. We won a basketball championship right on this court without any fans. And when the university said, well, you got to be vaccinated in order to keep competing, 97% of our student athletes got vaccinated. So we feel the pain that you all felt. But I think there's a good lesson in there, and I think it's reflected in the student athletes we're inducting today. Student athletes are just wired differently. You give them a challenge, and they'll meet that challenge. And thanks to the president, who understood that, athletics was given an opportunity to continue while the rest of the campus was shut down. I've been waiting 2 years now to introduce this class, and I'm glad we've had this opportunity today. I'm going to go through and just make some brief remarks about each of them, as I normally do, so you can get to know a little bit more about them other than a statistical presence. Jen Rock Buslepp, women's track and field. There's some unique names that have a special place in the Hall of Fame. Joe Gimbus, Charlie Parrish, Mary Carney, Pat Kent. And now Jen Rock Buslepp joins that select group. You see, they were all first-time recipients for their particular sport. And today, Jen becomes the first female student athlete in women's track and field to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. In 2013, she was the first student athlete at Wayne State to score points in a conference championship. And later that year, she won the GLIAC 10,000 meter race, winning the first champion by a female student athlete in track. In 2014, she competed in the NCAA Championships and finished 6th in the country in the 10,000 meter race, thereby becoming the first female All-American in the history of the sport. She also had provisional times that year in the 3,000 meter and in the 5,000 meter. The interesting thing when you look back at those records that she had is now, almost 8 years later, of the 6 best times in the 10,000 meters for a Wayne State student athlete, Jen's name owns 3 of those. And in the 5,000 meter, which she won in 2014 in the GLIAC, of the 4 best times in our history, Jen still has 2 of them. In 2011, she ran cross country for us, and in 10 of 14 meets, finished in the top 20 in the competition. 6 times, finishing in the top 5. She was an all-Midwest first-team selection and won 2 individual cross-country meets, the Titan Invitational and the Red River Classic. She was also invited in 2016 to run in the U.S. Olympic trials. Jen, like Sharita, did not start her career at Wayne State. She told me that the first school she went to was, well, a party school. She said they weren't serious about running and they weren't serious about academics. And Wayne State had both. I might also note that she met her husband, who was on the men's cross-country team, so it may not have been a party school, but I think there was some shared running going on there at some point in time. Anyway, her success was not just on the track. She was also a second-team USTA track and field All-American. Funny story about Jen, well, at least for me, because I still remember it. About, excuse me, 7 years ago, she sent me an email. And she started off the email by saying, "You may not know who I am." Spoiler alert, I had given her enough academic awards that I actually knew who she was. But the email, I think, underscored her passion and determination and really how much she cared for other student athletes. Well, today, a whole lot of people are going to know her name, and they're going to know it for a long time. And if you don't believe me, just check with people that knew Charlie Parrish or Joe Gimbus or Mary Carney or Pat Kent. Jen Rock, Buslepp, please stand up.
Jen Rock, please come forward. Jen Rock was a 6-time varsity letter winner, 2010 to 2014, native of Macomb, Michigan. Jen became Wayne State's first All-American in outdoor track and program history with a 6th-place finish in the 10,000 meters at the 2014 NCAA Championships, and would later qualify and run at the 2016 U.S. Olympic Marathon Trials. In indoor and outdoor track and field, she became Wayne State's first ever conference champion. As a cross-country student athlete, she won 2 races and was named both All-GLIAC and All-District in her junior and senior seasons. She earned her Bachelor of Arts degree with a nutrition and food science major, was a 5-time GLIAC All-Academic Excellence Team selection, and was 2-time COSIDA Academic All-District selection, and earned the United States Track and Field Cross-Country Coaches Association All-Academic Honors. Rob, it gives me great pleasure to present Miss Jen Rock for induction into the Wayne State University Athletic Hall of Fame.
I would like to start by thanking the election committee, Rob, Jeff, and the athletic department for the honor of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. To my teammates, for the connections, memories, and friendships, you were always there for me, carrying me forward and celebrating at the finish line. I can't thank you all enough, especially my roommate and teammate, Chelsea Fuller-Chacon. To Coach Cummins, who without his support, I wouldn't be standing up here today. When I first joined the team, we didn't always see eye to eye, and I was really stubborn with my approach to training. Coach Cummins was instrumental in shifting my training mindset, which ultimately led to my success on the track. More importantly, Coach Cummins became a friend and was someone I knew I could talk to for support and advice. Like most people, when I first started running, I didn't like it. But when my twin brother, John, joined the cross-country team our sophomore year of high school, I decided to follow and join him anyway. John dedicated himself to running immediately. Within his first cross-country season, he was running in varsity races and scoring points for the team. That winter, John started heading out the door for runs while I would stay at home teasing him to have fun out there. Eventually, during our junior year, John's passion, dedication, and success started to inspire me. He was now an all-state runner, being recruited to run in college, and I saw how his hard work got him there. It made me think, how good could I be if I dedicated myself to running too? Going into the summer, leading into senior year, I made the commitment to myself to run every day. On the days that we didn't have practice, John and I would usually start our runs together. That summer, I met my goal of running every day and set myself up to give my last season of cross country a fair chance. I ended up taking minutes off my 5K time, qualifying for the state meet for the first time, and fell just a few seconds short of my ultimate goal of being all-state. Throughout that season, college coaches started recruiting me, and suddenly all of these new doors were opening. During that time, not only did running offer me opportunities for my future, but I had a sense of belonging and identity within a community. I was a runner. And throughout the rest of my teenage years and my 20s, this identity would get me through some of the most difficult times. My first 2 years of college started off at a school in Chicago. And after my sophomore year, I made the decision to transfer to Wayne State. At this time, Wayne did not have a women's track program. And while I loved cross country, my favorite events were on the track in the spring. So in early 2012, when Wayne State announced the addition of women's track for spring of 2013, it was a dream come true. I now had 2 years left at Wayne State and 2 years of track. Immediately, I knew what my goal would be. I wanted to be All-American in the 10K. Over those 2 years, I would experience multiple injuries, setbacks, and eventually comebacks. In my final season, I met my goal of being All-American in the 10K with additional surprise success along the way. Running has brought me the best friendships and has allowed me to travel throughout the country, qualifying for the U.S. Olympic Trials Marathon and competing post-collegiately. Because of running, I met my husband and number one supporter, Mike, who is also a Wayne State cross-country alum. And we now have our 13-month-old twins, Colton and Reed. I often think about how small changes and decisions can make dramatic differences in our lives. And for most of the positives I have in my life, it is easily traced back to the decision to start running. Before I end this, there are just 2 more notes I need to make. First, thank you to Coach Grant Lofdale for his for the passion and dedication he brings to the current program. While I graduated years before Coach Lofdale stepped in as head coach, it has been incredible to witness the growth of both the men's and women's programs over the years. The records broken, the number of athletes reaching all-conference and all-American honors. Under Coach Lofdale's program, there will be many more track and cross-country Hall of Famers. And as an alum standing here today, it means a lot to witness these great traditions continue. Lastly, congratulations to all of the 2021 inductees on this incredible accomplishment. This honor of being inducted into the Hall of Fame took years of hard work and sacrifice so that we all could be the best we could be in our respective sports. Congratulations to you all, and thank you to everyone in attendance for celebrating this accomplishment with us.
It's my pleasure to introduce you to the Hall of Fame class of 2021. Have a seat when you all get a chance. One side on our own, the other one. You can take a picture of them there, so I'll put this back in. Take a picture of them there. So excuse me.
You want to step on over, step on over.
Brad, stand back up. Come on, coming through.